Miyazaki's crackerjack fantasy films do that to the utmost. With his amazing skills and talent, his audience believes in what he depicts. Takahata said no to fantasy films through Pom Poko, that they're everywhere now and harmful for people to watch. You can really see Takahata's antithesis against Miyazaki's fantasy movies. For example, during Operation Goblin, you see some Ghibli characters among the goblins. I mentioned this to you in the other lecture, but again, Operation Goblin doesn't affect human society. People watch it and say, that was fun. The raccoons expected this operation to affect the humans into canceling the Tama New Town development. But people saw it as a show. Miyazaki and Takahata worked for Toei Animation, whose slogan was to change the society. Ghibli inherited it, and Takahata completely denied it. Takahata's got a point. Look at some of Miyazaki's movies. Nausicaa and Totoro told children to go into nature more and play there. Laputa said people have to live with the earth. But the children only rush to the movie theaters in joy. Their parents show those movies to them every day. And they tell Miyazaki, oh, thank you so much. My child behaves so well when I show them Laputa. It's so ironic. On the contrary, Taiko, a character Takahata created, lives along the flow of time, but only the characters Miyazaki has created goes against the flow. Takahata is saying, my characters are moving forward because they are confronting reality, but yours are all facing backwards. That's Takahata's way of making a message. Providing tremendously well-made fantasy anime to children today is only harmful. That's the powerful message from Takahata to Miyazaki. That would be the only reason why Takahata put them in the movie. Again, Mamoru Oshii criticized Pom Poko. He's complaining, so Pom Poko is about preservation of nature. Then draw nature more beautifully. But for Takahata, drawing nature excessively beautiful is like using artificial sweetener. Nature is beautiful if it's drawn accurately. If people don't find it beautiful, it's their fault. Miyazaki depicts nature like water drops from a tree or on moss to make them look beautiful. The forest spirit steps on the ground and the flowers bloom from there. You can see they are beautiful, but they aren't real. They are an artificial beauty, not a natural beauty. Kids go into the real nature and be like, this isn't like Ghibli. Isn't there somewhere more beautiful like a Ghibli movie? Then they go to see a touristic landscape and say, wow, this is like a Ghibli movie. Takahata made an essential criticism. Is that true appreciation of nature? It can't be helped. That's Takahata. How should I say it? He denied not only Miyazaki, but also what he had previously made. He always looked for something new. But Miyazaki thinks differently. He denies half of what he has done in the past. But he's motivated to make something greater than his last work. He tries to pile success on top of success. Takahata thought, nature is beautiful as it is, so no exaggeration is necessary, like beautiful movements and depictions. That spoils the beauty of real nature. People comparing beautiful sceneries to Ghibli is not a compliment, because we've provided the public too much fake beauty. That's all they can refer to when they appreciate nature. Communists called religions opium. Likewise, Takahata called fantasy opium and said the role of anime was to rescue people from opium addiction. But he was like denying what Miyazaki had done for Ghibli, making his movies hits, feeding all Ghibli staff including Takahata himself, and creating the budget for Takahata's movies. Then, why did Miyazaki cry? Well, he cried because he was actually happy to be completely denied by Takahata. Miyazaki thought, That's my Takahata. Miyazaki ran away from his Marxist nature, in a way, by making Porco say, "You humans deal with politics. For a pig like me, fantasy is good enough." Miyazaki was acting cool. That was Miyazaki's evasion of dealing with real-world issues. But Takahata didn't let him escape. Takahata was like, "Yo, wait a minute!" You know, he was in a lecturing mode. I know the audience doesn't want our serious anime. Anime films are mere entertainment for couples and families who only want fantasy that can purify their feelings. They endlessly want opium. But you and I must never compromise. We have to keep making proper anime. Miyazaki had been feeling sad, thinking Takahata would never bother to get mad at him. But now, Takahata is giving him a straightforward lecture. That touched Miyazaki's heart and cried. That's how I see it. After that, Miyazaki changed his attitude. That's how he got to make Princess Mononoke. Otherwise, going from a fantasy movie, Porco Rosso, to more serious Princess Mononoke would be an unnatural shift of style. Suzuki may not have necessarily understood what was really going on in Miyazaki's mind. Suzuki wrote in Ghibli's textbook, "The story is a metaphor of the history of Toei animation. You can tell which character is who. Gonta is Miyazaki. Shokichi is Takahata. I won't forget the day the film completed. Takahata, Miyazaki, and I were sitting next to each other while watching the film. Miyazaki was crying from the beginning to the end because it was about the youth of Miyazaki and Takahata. Takahata is good at this type of metaphor." I mean, sure, maybe there was a metaphor, but I don't think Miyazaki is a type of guy who cries just because of that. The true significance of Pom Poko is that it denies the fantasy genre, which is quite rare. Blade Runner is designed in a way that the audience believes in the future the movie portrays. But when people watch Pom Poko, no one says, "Oh yeah, raccoons used to transform into people and trick us." Or, "They actually still live among us in the form of humans." It means that Pom Poko doesn't work as a fantasy. Things that are depicted in that world aren't what we see as real or good or admirable. They rather seem strange. The two films are the opposite sides of a coin, front and back. In both films, non-human beings have love and hate towards humans, and they're destroyed when they approach the humans too closely. That's why I think Pom Poko is actually Blade Runner. Okay? I already told you this is all you need to remember. Pom Poko is Blade Runner.